Chosen one. Breathe for a moment and recognize the weight of where you are standing right now. This is not a coincidence, not a casual click, not a random moment in your day. This is a Kairos interruption, a divine summons, a holy unfolding written into your prophetic scroll before you ever took your first breath. Heaven has waited for this exact second to unseal something that concerns your future, your heart, and the covenant God has prepared for your life. You are standing at the edge of revelation, at the doorway of a destiny that could begin shifting today, tonight, or in the coming hours. This is the moment when what was once hidden begins to breathe. What was once delayed begins to move. What was once sealed begins to open. For as it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time, and though it lingers, it will not be late. Chosen one. Your appointed time is here. Your spirit knows it. Your atmosphere feels it. Heaven has leaned in. This is a divine unlocking a scroll moment, a sacred intersection where God reveals what your heart has been prepared to carry. So still yourself, anointed one. Open your spirit. What is about to be spoken carries the power to shift everything. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this moment, let your spirit recognize that nothing about what is unfolding is ordinary. You are not drifting through random circumstances. You are moving through a divine sequence, a hidden alignment that has been shaping itself around your life long before you realized something was shifting. Heaven has been arranging encounters, rearranging timelines, removing distractions, and refining your heart with a precision that only those who live by destiny can perceive. What felt like delay was never denial. It was the slow turning of a sacred wheel, positioning you for a revelation that your spirit has been sensing for months, maybe even years. I know what it feels like to wait in silence, to wonder whether God has forgotten the desires you whispered in private moments, to question whether the ache you carry is a sign of emptiness or a sign of becoming. I have lived through seasons where every closed door felt like a personal loss, where every unanswered prayer felt like an echo in a hollow room where the future seemed tangled and unreadable. But every time I looked back, I realized the silence was strategy, the waiting was construction, the pruning was preparation. Chosen one, the same is happening to you now. The reason you feel stirred, restless, sensitized, almost spiritually alert in ways you can't explain is because something in the unseen has already begun to move on your behalf. What you could not see, heaven was already shaping. What you thought was still forming, God has already finished in the spirit. And now you are catching up to what was written about you long before your name appeared in this world. The tug in your heart, the unusual dreams, the sudden clarity, the urge to release old patterns, the fatigue around superficial relationships, all of it is evidence that your prophetic scroll is being touched by the breath of God. You are stepping into a Kairos moment, one of those rare intersections where time and destiny merge, where what was sealed begins to unseal itself. I've experienced moments like this too, moments where something in the air felt different and my spirit knew something sacred was approaching even before anything made sense logically. It often begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, like the shift of a season before the first leaf falls. You begin to feel the pull without knowing the destination. You sense the approach of someone you've never met, as if your heart recognizes a sound your ears haven't heard. That is what divine alignment feels like. It does not shout. It summons. It guides. It nudges. It draws you into obedience without fear. Chosen one. you are closer to your revelation than you think. Heaven has already set things in motion, and there is someone whose spirit has begun to stir at the same hour as yours. They may not know your name yet, but they feel the same pull, the same holy unrest, the same awakening that whispers, "Prepare. Something is coming." They have been refined through fire just as you have. They carry wounds that became wells of wisdom. Their heart has been softened, shaped and strengthened for a connection that carries purpose, alignment and legacy. This is not a love born of striving, it is born of assignment. It is not a meeting of convenience, it is a meeting of calling. And just like in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, there is a time for everything under heaven, including the revealing of what has been hidden for your protection. You are entering that time now. Let the truth settle in you. You are not behind, you are not overlooked, you are not late. You are precisely on time for what heaven is releasing, and as this moment unfolds, your spirit will recognize what your mind has yet to understand. The alignment is real, the timing is now, the scroll is opening. Chosen one. As you move further into this unfolding revelation, let your heart remain steady, because what is approaching is not only divine, it is intentional in ways you have not yet imagined. There are moments in every destiny carrying life when the atmosphere around them begins to shift quietly at first, then undeniably. You begin to sense that something sacred is rearranging itself in the unseen, as if heaven is touching the edges of your story and turning the page. This is the hour you are in now. Nothing around you is random. Nothing within you is accidental. Every stirring, every discomfort, every unexpected moment of clarity is a signal that heaven is drawing near with purpose. You may not see the whole picture, but your spirit recognizes the movement. That is why certain people no longer feel aligned with who you are becoming, why certain places feel too small for your spirit, why old habits fall away even without effort. When God begins to prepare a chosen one for a covenant that carries assignment and legacy, He begins the preparation in the heart long before the person arrives. I have walked through seasons like this myself, where God began removing what I thought I needed, pulling back what I assumed was stable, and guiding me into a quiet space where I had no choice but to listen. At first it felt like loss, but later I realized it was placement. Heaven does not clear space for no reason. Heaven clears space for replacement, alignment, and fulfillment. You, anointed one, are in that same divine clearing. And even now, while you are sensing these internal changes, someone else is sensing their own. They have been feeling a subtle pull. They cannot explain a restlessness that is not anxiety, but awakening a shift that feels like their life is being reorganized from the inside out. They may think they are simply changing, evolving, or healing, but what they are actually experiencing is the gravitational pull of destiny drawing them toward you. This is how heaven orchestrates divine unions, not through force, not through fear, through alignment, through recognition, through readiness. And readiness is exactly what heaven has been cultivating in both of you. Sometimes readiness looks like stretching. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like walking through situations that no longer make sense, because God is gently removing the scaffolding of your past to make room for the foundation of your future. Chosen one. The future that is approaching you carries weight. It carries calling. It carries kingdom purpose. This is why you could not settle before. This is why every false connection eventually fell away. This is why temporary comfort never lasted. Your spirit was reserved for something that could withstand the pressure of your destiny. I understand this personally. I've learned that God does not send people to fill loneliness. He sends people to fulfill assignment. He does not send someone to ease your mind temporarily. He sends someone who can carry your calling with you, understand your spiritual burden, honor your anointing, and walk beside you with both tenderness and strength. That kind of union requires preparation. It requires surrender. It requires refinement. And all of that is unfolding right now in you. You may think you are just feeling emotional or introspective lately, but what is actually happening is much deeper. Your prophetic sensitivity is increasing. Your spiritual awareness is expanding. Your soul is beginning to tune itself to the frequency of the one who is coming toward you. This is why certain songs hit deeper, certain dreams feel stronger, and certain thoughts linger longer. Heaven is activating the hidden codes written into your spirit, the ones meant to awaken when your time draws near. And your time is near. Anointed One, the one being aligned with you, is not approaching from confusion, but from clarity. They have walked through fire just as you have. They have been shaped, pruned, and softened just as you have. They are not coming empty. They are coming prepared. They are coming steady. They are coming with the capacity to love at the level your destiny requires. And when your paths converge, it will not feel like collision. It will feel like recognition, like remembering something your soul has always known but could never articulate. That is how divine alignment reveals itself quietly, deeply, unmistakably. Trust what you feel rising within you. It is the whisper of heaven saying, "Prepare." What is written is awakening. Chosen One. As you step into this next layer of revelation, allow your heart to recognize how intentionally God has been shaping your inner world. Nothing in your recent months has been random. The shifts in your relationships, the sudden distaste for superficial conversations, the need for deeper spiritual clarity, all of it is heaven carving out space within you for something weightier than you have ever carried. When God prepares a chosen one for a covenant with destiny woven into its foundation, He begins by awakening the spirit long before the mind can understand what is happening. Your spirit has been hearing whispers your logic has not yet caught up to. You've been sensing movement, feeling internal pressure, experiencing moments of strange stillness that seem to pause time itself. That is not confusion. That is alignment. That is heaven signaling that the story written for you is beginning to open. I've lived through these transitions, the kind where your soul feels too big for environments that used to feel comfortable, where conversations that once entertained you suddenly feel hollow, where people you once clung to no longer resonate with your spirit. At the time I thought I was changing randomly, but later I understood that heaven was separating me from what could not travel with me into the next season. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection, it wasn't loss, it was lifting. And, chosen one, you are walking through that same holy separation. The pruning you've been feeling is not punishment, it is prophecy. Heaven is editing your atmosphere so the one aligned with your destiny can step into your life without spiritual interference. And make no mistake, they are being prepared with the same precision. They've also walked through seasons that stripped away illusions. They've felt the sting of relationships that weren't built to last. They've endured long nights where they questioned whether God had forgotten their heart's desire. What they didn't realize was that the silence was shaping them, refining them, forming them into someone capable of stewarding a divine union rather than settling for a temporary connection. What they thought was loneliness was actually consecration. They have been carried through deserts not to break them, but to strengthen them for a covenant that requires maturity, patience, and spiritual depth. Chosen one, heaven aligns two souls, not by accident, but by assignment. You are not being paired with someone who is wandering or unsure. You are being aligned with someone who has been trained by the Spirit in ways they don't even recognize yet. Their endurance is not accidental. Their sensitivity is not random. Their compassion is not a personality trait. It is the evidence of their preparation. And at the same time, your intuition, your resilience, your spiritual depth are not things you stumbled into. They are markers of destiny, signs that you were being shaped for something extraordinary. This is why your heart has been so restless lately. Not in a chaotic way, but in a way that feels like expansion, like your spirit is stretching toward something you can't fully articulate yet, like there is a space inside you making room for someone you have not yet seen. That internal stretching is heaven's announcement that you are entering the season of unveiling. The prophetic timeline written for you is syncing with the one written for them. Two scrolls are beginning to unfold, two journeys beginning to converge, two purposes beginning to harmonize. I've felt this convergence before. It's subtle at first, a dream you can't shake, a moment of clarity that interrupts your day, a thought that feels like it came from somewhere higher than your own reasoning. Then it grows stronger. You start seeing signs, sensing shifts, noticing patterns that feel too aligned to be coincidence. That is how God moves when destiny is near. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not with chaos, but with clarity. Anointed one. The union approaching you is not an emotional entanglement. It is a divine partnership, a merging of purpose, a joining of assignments. And because of that, heaven has been extremely careful in preparing both of you. The timing had to be right. The healing had to be deep. The surrender had to be real. And now, in this Kairos moment, everything is aligning with a precision that only God can orchestrate. You are not imagining the shifts. You are not misreading the signs. You are stepping into a prophetic fulfillment that has been waiting for this exact hour. Your spirit knows it. Heaven knows it. And soon your eyes will see what your heart has already begun to believe. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this unfolding revelation, let your spirit recognize how deeply heaven has been involved in preparing you for what is coming. There are seasons when God speaks loudly, and there are seasons when he speaks through the subtle movements of your life, through people who leave opportunities that shift, desires that evolve, and internal awakenings you cannot fully explain. You are in that second kind of season, a season where God is rearranging the landscape of your heart so gently, yet so decisively, that you only understand the depth of the change when you look back and realize you are no longer who you were even a few months ago. This is the sign of someone being transitioned into a new spiritual dimension, someone whose prophetic timeline is being activated in real time. I know what this transformation feels like. I've walked through shifts where everything familiar began to feel foreign, and everything foreign began to feel strangely familiar. I've had moments where I sensed a pull toward something I could not see, a future I could not name, and a person I did not yet know. At the time, I thought I was simply changing, but I later realized heaven was preparing me for alignment. God often works this way. He prepares your spirit long before he reveals his plan to your eyes. That is what you are experiencing now. Your preparations, your healings, your awakenings, all of them point to one truth. Heaven is about to reveal something sacred concerning your future spouse. Chosen one. There is someone whose spirit has already begun to resonate with yours, even though you have not yet met in the natural. There is a pull forming in their heart, just as there is in yours, a sense of becoming, of longing, of readiness they cannot quite explain. They are feeling the shift without knowing the source. And this is the beauty of divine alignment. Heaven works in both hearts simultaneously. You are not waiting alone. They are not waiting alone. Two journeys are being woven together by invisible hands, two lives being gently steered toward convergence, two destinies being synchronized with perfect accuracy. And this process often begins with the breaking of old cycles. The reason certain people have drifted away from your life is because heaven is removing what cannot support your future. The reason shallow connections no longer interest you is because your spirit has matured beyond them. The reason you feel a sacred dissatisfaction, even when everything seems fine on the surface, is because your soul knows something greater is coming. You have outgrown your old seasons. Your heart is being readied for a love that carries assignment. Your mind is being renewed so you can recognize what heaven places in front of you. Your spirit is awakening so you don't mistake divine alignment for coincidence. I've lived through seasons where God shut doors I desperately wanted open. At the time, I didn't understand. But later, when the right door opened, I realized that if God had allowed me to walk through the first one, I would have been destroyed by what I thought I wanted. He was protecting me from myself, from my impatience, from my limited understanding. That same divine protection is covering you now. God is not just preparing you for someone, He is preparing you for the right someone. The one designed to walk with you, to pray with you, to build with you, to carry legacy with you. Anointed. 1. The person God is aligning you with is not coming to distract your purpose, but to strengthen it. They are not entering your life to become your identity, but to walk beside you in their own God-given identity. They are being shaped into a partner capable of standing beside your calling, not overshadowing it or shrinking beneath it. This is why God has taken His time with both of you. Divine unions require divine timing. When the wrong person comes at the wrong time, it creates damage. But when the right person comes at the right time, it creates destiny. What you are feeling in this season, the pull, the restlessness, the clarity, the emotional sensitivity, the deeper spiritual hunger is heaven preparing you to recognize the one He is sending. You are being tuned, you are being aligned, you are being positioned, and slowly what has been blurry is becoming clearer. You are beginning to sense the shift before the shift happens. The arrival before the arrival is seen the connection before the connection appears. Chosen one. Your story is entering a divine unveiling. What was hidden is being brought to light. What was delayed is being accelerated. What was sealed is being opened. Heaven is preparing you for a love that carries purpose, peace, and promise. Let your spirit stay open. Let your faith stay active. The unfolding has already begun. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this unfolding journey, you must understand that the stirring inside your spirit is not imagination. It is confirmation. Heaven never moves without releasing signals, and your soul has been picking up these signals long before your mind could interpret them. That rising awareness, that quiet anticipation, that sudden sensitivity to your own emotions and surroundings, these are signs that your atmosphere is shifting. You are being ushered into a new spiritual phase, one where clarity replaces confusion and alignment replaces uncertainty. Your spirit is beginning to recognize the nearness of what God has been preparing in the unseen, and it is responding with a quiet, holy expectation that refuses to be ignored. I've walked through seasons like this, seasons where I felt a pull toward change even before I knew what was changing. I remember days where I felt a strange peace mixed with mystery, a sense that something was drawing closer, but without any physical evidence. It felt like standing in a room moments before someone enters. You can feel the presence before the door ever opens. That is the same kind of spiritual anticipation surrounding you now, chosen one. You are sensing the approach of someone whose spirit has already begun to harmonize with yours. Even though your paths have not yet converged in the natural, they are moving toward each other with divine precision in the unseen. And while you feel this internal shift, the one God is preparing for you is experiencing their own awakening. They may not know your name, but their soul is beginning to long for the place where they are meant to rest. They are questioning old relationships, releasing old attachments, and stepping away from connections that once seemed meaningful but now feel misaligned. They feel the call to grow, to deepen, to mature. They sense that something sacred is coming, something that requires them to be emotionally stable and spiritually grounded. Heaven is shaping them just as it is shaping you, refining them with the same intentional care, preparing them to meet you, not as a broken version of themselves, but as the healed and aligned partner God designed them to be. Chosen one. The love approaching you is not ordinary. It is not born from loneliness or desperation. It is born from divine assignment. This is why your heart has been guarded in ways you did not fully understand. This is why no matter how deeply you tried to force certain relationships, they would not fit. This is why the people you thought were almost right eventually revealed themselves to be completely wrong. What God is preparing for you carries too much purpose to be entangled with anything counterfeit. Heaven has been protecting you from settling even when you didn't see the danger. The disappointment you felt in past connections was not failure, it was mercy. And now, as the old structures fall away, a new awareness rises within you. You are beginning to see yourself differently. You are beginning to honor your worth more intentionally. You're starting to recognize that your heart deserves a connection that reflects your spiritual depth and emotional maturity. The reason you've become more selective, more discerning, more spiritually attentive is because your future requires it. Divine unions cannot be built on shallow foundations. They require two prepared hearts, two surrendered spirits, two individuals willing to walk in obedience and alignment with heaven's timing. I know from experience that when God is preparing you for someone specific, He begins by aligning your inner world. He corrects your vision so you can recognize what is from Him and what is not. He strengthens your discernment so you do not mistake distraction for destiny. He teaches you to listen, to slow down, to observe, to wait. These internal lessons are not random, they are equipping you. They are forming in you the capacity to steward a covenant that carries both love and legacy, and the one being aligned with you is learning the same lessons. They are being shaped to see you not through eyes of desire, but through eyes of understanding. They are being prepared to recognize your anointing, respect your calling, and walk beside your purpose rather than compete with it. Their journey toward you is just as sacred as your journey toward them. And just as heaven has whispered to your spirit, heaven is whispering to theirs. Chosen one. The moment you have been sensing is closer than you think. Two lives are being synchronized, two hearts calibrated to the same divine frequency, two destinies aligned by hands unseen. What is coming is not random affection, it is ordained connection. You are stepping into a love story written long before you learned to pray for it. Let your spirit stay open. Let your faith stay steady. Heaven is drawing the two of you closer with every passing moment. Chosen one. As you move into this deeper layer of revelation, allow yourself to feel the gravity of what heaven is arranging on your behalf. Nothing about this season has been accidental. Every moment of restlessness, every unexpected wave of emotion, every sudden desire to grow, heal, or release old burdens has been preparing you for what is approaching. When God aligns two destinies, He does not rush the process. He shapes it, He cultivates it, He protects it, and He ensures that both hearts are prepared to recognize each other when the moment comes. You are not simply waiting, you are being positioned. Heaven is synchronizing your life with someone whose spirit is awakening at the same divine pace. I've seen this kind of alignment firsthand. There were seasons in my own life where I felt a quiet shift happening long before anything made sense in the natural. A sudden deepening in my spirit, a softening in my heart, an unusual clarity in my thoughts. At the time, I didn't understand why it was happening. But now, I know those transitions were preparing me for encounters that carried weight, encounters that changed the entire trajectory of my journey. That is what is happening to you now, Anointed One. Your inner world is shifting to match the future that is approaching. Heaven is adjusting your pace so that when the right person steps into your life, your spirit will recognize them immediately. This recognition is not based on physical appearance, ideal timing, or logical compatibility. It is spiritual. It is something ancient in you responding to something eternal in them. And while your spirit is awakening, their spirit is experiencing the same pull. They feel unusual shifts in their emotions too. They are questioning relationships that no longer align. They are revisiting old wounds to finally release them. They are redefining what love means, not from the lens of culture, but from the perspective of purpose. Even without knowing why, they feel compelled to prepare to grow, to rise into a higher version of themselves. That is heaven aligning them with the weight of what you carry. Chosen One. This alignment is not casual, it is strategic. Your future spouse is not being prepared to simply love you, they are being prepared to understand you. They are being shaped to walk with you through spiritual battles, emotional breakthroughs, and prophetic assignments. Heaven is cultivating their resilience, their empathy, their discernment, and their capacity to hold space for the anointing on your life. And you have felt the same preparation. This is why your standards have risen. This is why your spirit rejects anything shallow. This is why you feel a holy discomfort around people who do not honor your growth. Heaven is making sure that when this union arrives, nothing will sabotage its purpose. You are entering a season where your spirit will begin to sense the nearness of destiny with greater intensity. You may find yourself more introspective, more prayerful, more intentional with your time and energy. You may begin dreaming more vividly, seeing symbols or themes that speak to preparation and alignment. You may feel a pressure to elevate your habits, to heal the last layers of old wounds, to forgive people you never thought you could, to release the last remnants of past relationships. These are not random impulses, they are spiritual activations. Heaven is clearing the final pieces of the puzzle so the greater picture can emerge. I know from personal experience that these activations often come with a mixture of excitement and fear. You may feel hopeful one day and uncertain the next. You may feel ready and then suddenly question everything. But even these fluctuations are part of the process. They are stretching your faith, strengthening your discernment, and teaching you to trust what God is building in the unseen. This kind of preparation requires your whole heart. It requires you to believe even when nothing visible has changed yet. It requires you to surrender the timeline, the expectations, and the pressure you once placed on yourself. Anointed One, the one God is aligning you with is being drawn toward you even now. Their journey has not been easy, but it has been sacred. Their wounds have softened their heart. Their trials have deepened their empathy. Their losses have shaped their wisdom. They are becoming someone whose soul can stand beside yours without fear, insecurity, or resistance. And when your paths converge, it will not feel forced. It will feel familiar, like stepping into a moment your spirit has already lived. Chosen one, trust the pull. Trust the preparation, trust the unfolding. A divine union is drawing near, a union sealed in heaven long before time began. Stay aligned, stay open, stay expectant. Heaven is guiding every step. Chosen one. As you step into this next movement of your journey, feel how the atmosphere around your life is becoming more charged, more intentional, more saturated with meaning. This is not the kind of season where things happen slowly or silently. This is the kind of season where heaven begins to tighten every thread of your story, pulling together pieces that once seemed scattered and aligning them with a precision that can only come from God. The closer a divine union draws, the more the unseen realm begins to activate everything within you. Your intuition, your sensitivity, your discernment, your prophetic awareness. None of what you are feeling is random. It is the sign of a destiny unfolding. I have been in moments like this before, where my spirit woke up before my circumstances did, where I felt a weight in the air, a sense that something was moving toward me, even though I could not see it yet. There were days I felt unusually emotional without knowing why, and other days where a deep peace settled over me like a warm blanket. I later realized that these were signals, markers, signs that heaven was preparing me for a divine intersection I could not have orchestrated on my own. Chosen one, that same kind of spiritual synchronization is happening to you now. You are being drawn into alignment, not by your own effort, but by the weight of prophetic timing. And just as your spirit is waking up, the one God has chosen for you is walking through their own awakening. They have begun noticing shifts in their own desires, letting go of past attachments, and releasing habits that once kept them stagnant. They feel a pull toward deeper purpose, toward clarity, toward emotional maturity. Even though they may not fully understand why their spirit is preparing to meet yours, they have been sensing an unexplained stirring, a longing that goes beyond companionship and touches something sacred. They are being refined, stretched, awakened, not as a coincidence, but as a confirmation that their destiny is moving toward them, just as yours is moving toward you. Chosen one. When heaven prepares two souls for divine union, the preparation happens long before the revelation. You have been walking through inner transformations that were never meant to be temporary. You have been healing wounds that were never meant to carry into your future. You have been breaking cycles that would have sabotaged the connection God is bringing into your life. Every tear you shed, every boundary you built, every old pattern you released has been part of a divine cleansing. Not one moment has been wasted. Heaven has been preparing the soil of your heart for a love that does not just feel good, but builds purpose, legacy, and spiritual depth. I know how challenging it can be when you sense destiny but cannot yet see it. There is a tension between knowing something is coming and not being able to touch it yet. It feels like living in the space between chapters, no longer who you were, but not yet walking in the fullness of who you are becoming. But this space is holy. This is where God finishes what He started in you. This is where He refines your expectations, strengthens your trust, and deepens your spiritual awareness so that when the moment arrives, you will not miss it. You are not in transition because something went wrong. You are in transition because something is about to go right. Anointed one. The connection approaching your life is not ordinary. It carries divine weight. Heaven has been preparing this person not just to love you, but to understand you, to walk beside your purpose, to protect your vulnerability, and to honor your calling. They are being shaped into someone who can stand with you in both the gentle seasons and the demanding ones. They are being pulled away from superficial things so they can meet you in a place of substance. Their heart is being softened to recognize yours. Their spirit is being awakened to witness yours. Their journey is being rewritten so it can intersect with yours at the exact moment heaven intended. And the closer you get to that intersection, the more your discernment will sharpen. You will begin to sense a narrowing in your path, a divine focus that keeps you from being distracted by what once caught your attention. Old habits will feel heavy. Old connections will feel incompatible. Old desires will feel too small for the person you are becoming. This is the evidence that heaven is refining you for someone who can meet you at your new level. Your spirit is outgrowing what no longer carries your future, and that growth, chosen one, is the clearest sign that divine alignment is near. You are stepping into a moment where your heart will recognize what your mind could not predict. A moment where what you have been waiting for begins to take shape. A moment where the unseen becomes visible. Stay open, stay expectant, stay surrendered. What is written for you is already on its way. Chosen one. As you move into this next depth of the journey, feel how heaven is drawing you closer to the center of what has been prepared for you. This is the kind of season where subtle signs begin to intensify, where quiet whispers become undeniable, where your spirit begins to resonate with truths that your mind is only starting to grasp. You are stepping into a divine nearness, a spiritual proximity to revelation, and your entire inner world can feel it. The shifts happening inside you are not emotional turbulence, they are prophetic indicators. When heaven prepares a chosen one for a covenant aligned with destiny, every part of their being begins to respond. Your emotions, your discernment, your dreams, your intuition, all of them are awakening because something your spirit has been waiting for is approaching. I've walked through this stage before. It's a sacred place, a threshold where you feel both anticipation and surrender at the same time. There were days when I sensed an almost magnetic pull toward my future, even though I couldn't explain it to anyone. I found myself thinking deeply, questioning who I was becoming, examining what I truly desired, and letting go of anything that felt unworthy of the person I was evolving into. It wasn't a season of seeking outside answers. It was a season of spiritual tuning. That is what is happening in you now, anointed one. Your spirit is tuning itself to heaven's frequency, aligning itself with the very person whose spirit is awakening in parallel to yours. And make no mistake, the one God has prepared for you is also experiencing their own spiritual tuning. They feel pulled toward deeper purpose. They feel convicted about old habits and old relationships. They feel the weight of becoming someone worthy of the destiny written for them. They may not understand the full reason behind this transformation, but heaven does. Their growth is not random. Their awakening is not accidental. Their longing is not mere desire. It is preparation. Heaven is molding them into someone who can recognize your heart without explanation, honor your calling without hesitation, and stand beside your spirit without intimidation. Chosen one. This season is not just shaping you for love. It is shaping you for partnership, for purpose, for the kind of union that carries both spiritual assignment and generational impact. This is why the refining has been so deep. This is why the emotional shifts have been so intense. This is why you have been sensing a need to prepare, even though nothing visible has changed. Heaven is not waiting for the right moment to start the work. Heaven has already begun. You are being strengthened internally, so you do not enter the next chapter carrying old fears, old wounds, or old mindsets. I've known what it feels like to walk through this refining fire, feeling like God is stripping away everything familiar so He can rebuild something sacred. At times, it can feel lonely, like you're being separated from the world you once knew. But later, when you look back, you understand that heaven separated you, not to isolate you, but to elevate you. You were being prepared for someone whose future required the best version of you, not the broken version, not the hesitant version, not the fearful version, the aligned version, the healed version, the chosen version. And now, as heaven continues this work, you will begin noticing that your spirit reacts differently to things around you. You will feel drawn to moments of silence, pulled toward deeper prayer, nudged to evaluate your habits, your environment, and your emotional patterns. You may find yourself craving peace over excitement, substance over attraction, purpose over pleasure. These cravings are spiritual signals. They are preparing you to receive someone who reflects the depth of your anointing. Anointed one, the person being aligned with you is also being drawn into this same depth. They are stepping away from superficiality, yearning for meaning, seeking stability, craving emotional and spiritual honesty. Heaven is cleansing their heart, just as heaven is cleansing yours, removing anything that would interfere with the connection God is preparing. They may not know why they suddenly feel called to grow, to heal, to become more intentional, but you know. It is because your destinies are converging. And when two destinies begin to converge, the inner world of both individuals is transformed. Your desires shift. Your standards shift, your identity shifts, your expectations shift. Everything inside you begins to align with the person who is approaching your life. And when you meet chosen one, your spirits will recognize each other with a certainty that defies logic. What is drawing near is not coincidence. It is covenant. Stay open to the shifts. Stay surrendered to the timing. Stay attentive to the whispers. Heaven is preparing you for a love written in the mind of God before your story began. Chosen one, as you move deeper into this unfolding journey, feel how the landscape of your inner world continues to shift, expand, and make room for something holy. You are no longer in the early stages of awakening. You are in the heart of divine preparation, the very center of a spiritual recalibration that heaven began long before you understood what was happening. Everything in your atmosphere feels different now. Even the way you think, the way you feel, the way you perceive people and situations, nothing is the same. This is because heaven is aligning you with someone whose presence will require a version of you that stands rooted, healed, and fully awakened. You are not just being prepared for love. You are being prepared for assignment, partnership, alignment, and destiny. I know this place well. I have been in seasons where God began rearranging my inner life long before anything changed externally. It was a season where I felt an ache for something I could not yet name, a longing that wasn't loneliness, but divine pulling. I remember waking up with a sense that something was drawing closer, something sacred, something from God. I began to see my patterns differently. I became aware of my emotional tendencies. I noticed which wounds still needed healing. I felt the urge to step into routines that reflected the future I was hoping for rather than the past I was leaving behind. Looking back, I now understand that heaven was shaping my heart to recognize what it had prepared. Chosen one. The same shaping is happening inside you. Your transformation is not random, it is prophetic. The one God is preparing to bring into your life is not someone simple or ordinary. They are someone who has also been walking through a similar internal realignment. They too have been questioning the path they once walked. They have been feeling the weight of growth, the push toward maturity, the discomfort that comes with spiritual stretching. They are being prepared to hold your heart with reverence, to walk beside your calling without fear, and to carry their own purpose with strength. Their internal transformation is a mirror of your own. Heaven prepares both hearts in parallel so that when the moment of convergence comes, neither one feels overwhelmed or unprepared. Chosen one, consider how much you have changed recently. The things you used to tolerate now feel too heavy. The relationships you once entertained now feel misaligned. The habits you once excused now feel out of place. This is not you being picky. This is your spirit rejecting anything that does not match the identity heaven has been awakening within you. You are outgrowing everything that does not honor your calling. When destiny draws near, misalignment becomes unbearable. When covenant approaches, counterfeits lose their appeal. When God is about to reveal the person designed for your future, He first removes anything that would blur your discernment. This is why solitude has felt different lately, not empty but sacred, not lonely but clarifying. God is fine-tuning your thoughts and healing cracks you didn't realize were still fragile. He is strengthening you so that when you meet the person He has prepared for you, your love will not come from wounds, but from wisdom. Your connection will not be born from desperation, but from spiritual maturity. The love that is approaching your life is not meant to soothe your insecurities, it is meant to amplify your purpose. And the one being aligned with you is also sensing this shift. They have felt the urge to break patterns that no longer serve who they are becoming. They may have recently felt distanced from people who once held their attention. They are realizing that their heart is longing for something real, anchored, spiritually rich. Their soul is making room for you, even before they know your name. This is the divine beauty of destiny, two people preparing for one another, without knowing exactly why, yet feeling the shift with undeniable certainty. Anointed one, the convergence of two prophetic paths is never quiet. It shakes the inner world before it blesses the outer one. That is why your emotions have been so stirred, why your thoughts have carried unusual depth, why your spirit has been more sensitive to signs, dreams, and intuitions. You are not imagining these things. You are responding to the approach of something God Himself is sending. And when the moment comes, chosen one, your soul will recognize it instantly, not with fireworks, but with peace. Not with confusion, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with a deep knowing that feels like coming home. The divine timing of your story is accelerating. Heaven is aligning your life with someone appointed, not accidental. Continue to stay open. Continue to stay surrendered. What is written is drawing near. Chosen one. As you continue moving through this sacred unfolding, allow yourself to feel the weight of how close you are to stepping into the chapter heaven has been shaping for you. This is not the beginning of preparation anymore. This is the threshold. You are standing in the space between what was written long ago and what is about to manifest in front of you. Every part of your being feels it, your heart, your spirit, your intuition, even your physical body. There is a quiet urgency inside you, a sense that something is aligning, something is converging, something is moving toward you with intention and speed. This is not imagination. This is spiritual reality, breaking into your natural world. I've lived through these moments where heaven felt almost tangible. Times when I woke up feeling like the air itself was different, like something invisible but undeniable was shifting around me. It wasn't anxiety. It wasn't fear. It was clarity. It was the sense that what had been delayed was finally entering my timeline. In those moments, I realized how God often speaks through atmosphere before he speaks through events. He changes what you feel before he changes what you see. Chosen one, that is the season you are in now. Heaven has already begun sending signals to your spirit, and your spirit has already begun responding. And just as these signals awaken something in you, they are awakening something in the one God is bringing toward your life. They feel the pull just as strongly. They may not have the language to describe it, but their soul knows something is nearing. They have been wrestling with a holy dissatisfaction, sensing that the relationships, environments, and cycles they once settled for are no longer aligned with who they are becoming. They are being elevated internally, prepared, emotionally, refined, spiritually. Their heart is being tuned to recognize yours the moment God allows your paths to converge. Their preparation has been just as intense as yours, because heaven never aligns one heart without aligning the other. Chosen one. The reason you feel stretched, challenged, or deeply reflective in this season is because God is finishing what he began in you. He is sealing the cracks, strengthening the weak places, calming the internal storms, and sharpening your discernment. He is making sure you do not enter this next chapter carrying the weight of old wounds or the residue of old cycles. You are being prepared not just to receive love, but to sustain covenant. Not just to feel connection, but to build legacy. Not just to experience partnership, but to walk in purpose with someone who can carry the weight of destiny beside you. This is why the emotional intensity has increased. This is why your dreams feel deeper, your prayers more focused, your thoughts more intentional. When divine timing approaches, heaven activates every spiritual sense within you. You are beginning to see yourself more clearly, not as someone who is waiting, but as someone who is being positioned. You are beginning to understand why past relationships could never hold you. You are beginning to recognize that your heart needed to be strengthened, your identity defined, your vision refined. Every part of your story has led to this moment of readiness. I've known what it feels like to stand in this kind of readiness, the kind where you feel both surrendered and expectant, grounded, yet lifted, peaceful, yet alert. It is a strange but beautiful tension, like standing at the edge of a promise and knowing that any day, any moment, the next step could unfold. But more than anything, it is a place of deep trust, a place where you know God has not forgotten you, not overlooked you, not abandoned your desires, a place where you realize that his timing is not a delay, but a design. Anointed. 1. The person God is aligning with you is carrying their own confirmation. They have been dreaming differently, thinking differently, moving differently. They feel the call to rise, to grow, to shed their old self. Heaven is prompting them toward purpose, just as heaven is prompting you. And when destiny begins to pull two people together, the pull becomes unmistakable. Every distraction loses its power. Every counterfeit loses its shine. Every doubt begins to shrink. What is coming toward you is not confusion, it is clarity. It is the kind of connection that steadies the soul, illuminates purpose, and awakens peace. When you meet them, you will not need signs to convince you. Your spirit will recognize what heaven has been preparing you for. And just as importantly, their spirit will recognize you. Chosen one, stay aligned, stay available. Stay surrendered. You are standing at the edge of a divine unveiling. What heaven wrote is approaching your life with intention. Chosen one. As you continue into this deeper stretch of your journey, feel how heaven is drawing you into a space of holy awareness, where everything inside you becomes more sensitive, more perceptive, more tuned to what is unfolding. You may have noticed recently that your spirit reacts quickly to things that once barely registered. A simple conversation, a subtle shift in someone's energy, a moment of silence, all of it feels louder now, more meaningful, more revealing. This is not sensitivity in the natural sense. This is your spirit awakening to prophetic proximity. When a divine union begins to approach heaven, heightens your discernment, so you can sense what is coming before you ever see it. You are being invited to pay attention, to listen differently, to look beyond surface details and feel where God is moving. I've lived through moments like these where every small thing carried weight. There were days I felt like God was speaking through ordinary situations, showing me truths I wouldn't have seen if I had been distracted or numb. It was like stepping into a different layer of awareness, where the veil between the spiritual and natural worlds felt thinner. That is what you're experiencing now, Anointed One. Your spirit is being trained to recognize your future before your eyes ever witness it. Heaven is fine-tuning your inner senses so that when the right person enters your life, you will know not because of how they look, but because of how your spirit responds. And as your awareness heightens, the one being aligned with you is undergoing the same awakening. They feel the shift within themselves, the urge to break free from old cycles, the desire to choose healing over numbness, purpose over distraction, truth over comfort. They may not fully understand why they are being pushed to grow so aggressively in this season, but heaven does. Their breakthrough is connected to your alignment. Their healing is connected to your preparation. Their clarity is connected to your unfolding. Two hearts are being strengthened in different places, but at the same divine pace, because heaven never unites two people who are mismatched in readiness. Chosen one. This is why old temptations no longer appeal to you. This is why certain conversations drain you now. This is why it has become harder to lower your standards or ignore your intuition. Heaven is protecting your heart from stepping into the wrong doors at the wrong time. You are being shielded from emotional entanglements that would dilute your discernment. You are being kept from people who cannot hold the weight of your calling. You are being preserved for a partnership that reflects the depth of who you truly are, not the version shaped by past pain, but the version shaped by destiny. I know what it feels like to be preserved this way. It can feel isolating at first, like God is pulling you away from the world, but in reality, He is pulling you toward alignment. There were seasons where I felt disconnected from people I once loved deeply, not because they were bad, but because they were no longer aligned with my future. I had to learn that letting go is not always loss. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's God clearing space for what belongs. And when I finally stepped into alignment with what heaven had prepared, everything made sense. The loneliness wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Anointed One. The person God is aligning you with is being preserved too. God is clearing their atmosphere, removing people who distract them, breaking ties that were never meant to remain, closing doors that could interfere with your connection. They might feel confused about why certain relationships suddenly shift, or why certain opportunities fall away, but heaven is guiding them just as intentionally as heaven is guiding you. Divine unions require divine separation first. God removes what cannot carry destiny. so that when the two of you meet, the bond is uncontaminated by old pain, old ties, or old identities. You may also find yourself dreaming more vividly in this season, dreams of connection, dreams of movement, dreams that feel symbolic rather than random. Your subconscious is being prepared, healed, and softened to receive the person whose presence will become a major part of your spiritual journey. Heaven often speaks through dreams when a major shift is near, and the dreams you've been having are not coincidences. They are previews, they are confirmations, they are whispers from the future God is drawing you into. Chosen. 1. Everything inside you is being recalibrated because you are entering a season where alignment will matter more than ever. You are transitioning from preparation to proximity. You are moving from healing to readiness. You are stepping from waiting into divine convergence. And when the moment finally arrives, it will not feel forced. It will feel like recognition, like remembrance, like stepping into a chapter your heart always knew was coming. Stay sensitive to the shift. Stay anchored in discernment. Stay open to what heaven is aligning. What is approaching your life carries weight, purpose, and divine timing. Chosen one. As you step into this final stretch of the journey, let your spirit acknowledge the magnitude of what heaven is placing before you. You are no longer in the shadows of preparation, but in the light of prophetic fulfillment, where everything you have walked through begins to connect with a clarity that almost takes your breath away. This is the season where your spirit feels both tender and strong, where your heart feels both vulnerable and steady, where your mind feels both surrendered and sharpened. These tensions are not contradictions, they are confirmations. They signal that heaven is completing a work inside you that has been unfolding for years. You are not just being prepared to meet someone, you are being prepared to stand in a chapter written for the healed and elevated version of you. I know what this place feels like, because I have walked through it, this strange mixture of peace and expectancy, of release and readiness, of knowing and not knowing. It is the place where heaven whispers, "You are ready now," even before you fully believe it yourself. And yet, somehow deep within you know it's true. You know you are not who you once were. You know you have shed layers you no longer need. You know you have risen into a version of yourself capable of carrying a covenant soaked in purpose. Chosen one. The one heaven is aligning you with has undergone this same holy refinement. They have been stretched, softened, awakened, and purified. They have walked through battles that carved depth into their spirit. They have released attachments that were never meant to travel with them into their destiny. They have been shaped into someone capable of loving you with the clarity and steadiness your calling requires. Even now, they are sensing that their life is converging toward something greater than anything they have known. They may feel a pull toward growth that feels urgent. They may feel a desire to simplify their life and remove distractions. They may feel an unusual hunger for truth, for peace, for alignment. These stirrings are not random. They are responses to the same heavenly frequency resonating inside you. Two hearts being tuned simultaneously by the same divine hand. Two spirits rising at the same pace. Two journeys being synchronized by a wisdom greater than anything the human mind could conceive. When heaven prepares two people for each other, it does so with symmetry, precision, and sacred care. You are witnessing that care in your own transformation, and they are witnessing it in theirs. Anointed One, this final phase of preparation is not about striving. It is about allowing yourself to rest in the truth that you are ready. Allowing your heart to believe that what is coming is real. Allowing your spirit to welcome the connection heaven has written for you. This is the season where God is asking you to trust Him without hesitation, to trust the journey you have walked, to trust the healing you have embraced, to trust the timing that has brought you here. You are no longer waiting passively. You are standing actively in alignment. You are living as someone who knows the promise is near. You are moving like someone who has been prepared. And as you do, heaven moves with you. This is the part where your discernment sharpens effortlessly, where peace becomes your compass, where your spirit begins to recognize what your mind has not yet seen. The signs that once seemed subtle become clear. The inner nudges become stronger. The dreams become more direct. Everything begins to echo the same truth. You are stepping into fulfillment, not longing. Chosen one. When the moment arrives, and it will, you will not have to question it. Your soul will recognize theirs before your mind forms the first thought. Peace will settle where fear once lived. Clarity will replace uncertainty, and the connection will feel like something your spirit remembers rather than something your logic analyzes. Heaven is not bringing you a person to complete you. Heaven is bringing you a partner who mirrors the growth, the healing, and the purpose you have stepped into. Someone whose presence feels like alignment. Someone whose love feels like assignment. Someone whose spirit feels like home. Continue to stay open, stay grounded, stay surrendered. You are standing at the doorway of a divine unveiling, and heaven is ready to place into your hands what your heart has been prepared to receive. Chosen one. As we close this sacred moment, let your spirit recognize the weight of where you now stand. Heaven has not just whispered to you today, it has confirmed that your hidden scroll is opening and your sealed prophecy is unfolding in perfect Kairos timing. You are stepping into the chapter written for you before time began, and nothing in your life is out of alignment with God's divine clock. Anointed one, walk forward with reverence, with readiness, with gratitude for what is already moving toward you. Guard your peace. Stay aligned with the flow of the anointing. Expect clarity, confirmation, and the gentle nearness of the one heaven has prepared for you. If your spirit bears witness to this word, feel free to write, "I receive this," in the comments, and stay connected for more prophetic guidance. Until we meet again, remain positioned, remain surrendered, and remember, heaven has already begun.